Whoa.
Hey, man.
Oh my God. What? Didn't you just
I had to double back. I saw the way you were looking at my bike, and I think you're a little bike curious. Don't worry, we've all been there, so let's talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, the BMX bike does look pretty fun, but I've always been a mountain bike guy.
Fair, and I've heard that before, but hear me out. Riding a different style of bike is not only a whole lot of fun, but it's gonna make you a better rider overall. Mountain biking and BMX are all about control, balance, and most importantly, having fun. And the skills developed here on the BMX bike can directly translate to the mountain bike, making your rides that much more fun. Riding BMX is going to teach you to be more precise with your weight shifts, your balance on the bike, and your overall bike control because the bike is smaller and lighter. One of the big factors with the BMX bike is because it doesn't have suspension, it's going to teach you how to absorb impacts with your body.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, even when you're on the mountain bike, your arms and legs are still your biggest sources of suspension. So I see how learning how to absorb those impacts on the BMX bike would make this ride even smoother.
Exactly, and since the BMX has a shorter wheelbase than a mountain bike, the beauty is you have more leverage over this bike, meaning that things like manualing, bunny hopping, and jumping are going to be much more approachable to learn on this style of bike. The really cool thing is the feedback is going to be immediate, which is going to allow you to dial in your technique even quicker.
Huh. And I suppose since there's no suspension on this, it's a good way to practice something like pumping too, right? Like, I have so much suspension on this bike, it's hard for me to feel the nuances and transitions. And with a rigid bike, you can really feel the most effective point of that transition to pump into in order to maintain speed on things like pump tracks or bowls.
Yeah, you actually bring up a really good point. And in my opinion, the mountain bike industry often tries to sell us bigger bikes than we need. More suspension, more travel, to ride trails that don't really require it. And that's why the BMX bike is so cool. It has none of these frills, which is gonna make us a better rider. In fact, no bike is going to make us a better rider just because it has more gadgets. So let's keep that in mind.
Yeah, actually, when I think about it, I learned how to ride mountain bikes on a cheap hardtail and flat pedals, and I'm forever grateful for that. So I see how switching to a BMX bike would be an even more condensed version of that skill development machine.
Exactly. Now you're starting to get it. So speaking of riding trails, why are you riding that big old bike down here in town anyways?
Well, all of the trails are muddy right now, so I'm kind of out of options.
Well, that brings me to my next point. The BMX bike is something that you can ride almost year round in so many different places. For example, you can head out to the bike park to check out some dirt jumps, which is a whole lot of fun. You can check out one of these paved pump tracks, which are great for beginners. And the best part about them is they tend to run all year round. And lastly, my favorite place to ride, here at the skate park. Heck, you can even have a good session in your driveway or out in the street.
Well, that sounds pretty nice. Sounds pretty cool to be able to get a good ride in without loading the bike up or traveling anywhere.
You can basically ride a BMX bike anywhere. So just pick up a bike and head out there and see what style feels best for you. If you're like me, you're probably gonna enjoy a little bit of everything. One of my favorite parts about the BMX bike is it's such a creative form of self-expression.
All right, this sounds great, but where do I even start trying to find a bike that works for me?
Well, believe it or not, coming from mountain biking, picking the right BMX bike for you is actually pretty simple. Most BMX bikes come standard with 20-inch wheels. However, you can find BMX bikes with 22 and 24-inch wheels. However, if that's the route you're looking to go, I would suggest maybe just looking to get a dirt jumper. If that's something you'd like to learn more about, we can do a full video on that. Just let us know down in the comments below.
Yeah, I used to ride a dirt jumper a lot, but the 20-inch bike is really what's interesting to me now. So what should I look for?
Well, frame size can be pretty subjective. For example, I'm 6'4" and I ride a 21-inch top tube. But I have a good friend who's a little shorter than I am who rides a 21.5-inch top tube. So the best question is asking yourself what you're gonna intend to ride this bike for.
All of the riding that we talked about earlier sounds super fun, but coming from a mountain bike, I feel like the BMX bike is gonna feel super small under me. So what size frame would you recommend looking for?
That's definitely a valid concern, and it's certainly one that I hear a lot from mountain bikers looking to pick up a BMX bike. The way I would go, especially when you're looking for a cheaper complete bike, is to find something with a top tube that's no shorter than 20.75, but 21 inches is the sweet spot. If you're looking for a top tube that is longer than that, you're most likely going to have to go with a custom build that's going to cost a little bit more money. That 21-inch top tube is going to provide a bike that is really stable and comfortable.
All right, that's actually super helpful. And I do want to call out, I noticed that you're not running brakes on your bike, and I like being able to stop. So what's going on with that?
Well, that's a great observation. And when you go out to the skate park, you're probably going to see a lot more of this. This is definitely a style choice, and it's not one that you should make lightly. When you're shopping around for a bike, I would suggest finding something that has a rear brake on it and not taking that rear brake off for a minimum of a year. Getting really comfortable with that BMX bike and being able to stop, that's really helpful in that experience. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention, you can pick up a brand new BMX bike for only a few $100.
All right, you've convinced me. Why don't you show me how it's done?
All right, follow me.
We are stoked that you're here and that you're curious about playing with another bike. It's important to remember that a bike is a bike, and just because somebody rides a bike that looks different than yours doesn't mean that they're not a part of this rad community. Be sure you subscribe to this channel because we're releasing mountain bike and BMX content weekly.
And if you need a suggestion on picking up a BMX bike, let us know down in the comments. We're happy to provide some feedback. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and do us a solid and share it with a mountain bike friend who also might be interested in riding BMX. As always, thank you guys so much for riding with us. You absolutely rule. Now get out there for your own joyride. Later.
Whoa. All right, before we get out of here, I just want to say that we have a ton of other awesome mountain bike and BMX content already on the channel. If you want to keep learning with us, click right here and learn 6 easy BMX tricks for beginners. And if you're done learning for the day, but still want to hang out, click here and join us for a trip to Denver, where we pick up some vintage mountain bikes and explore a few skate parks. Till next time, thank you guys for being here. We'll see you on the next Joyride.
Wow. Can you believe we did all that without a single acting class? Yeah, you can probably believe it.
Yeah, holy smokes. We got work to do.